Hello everyone and welcome to our training today. Today we're talking about how to take the guesswork out of recession funding. We're going to talk about many specific loan and credit line options that will work for you right now, even with a dramatic shift in the economy and everything that's going on with the coronavirus. So by the end of this training, you are going to know, 10 to 15 different options for you to be able to get financing for your business, even with what's going on right now. And you're going to be able to know options, for example, if you're a startup, if you're a nonprofit, if you've got credit challenges. We're going to dive into all of that, so let's get started. For those that don't know me, my name is Ty Crandall. I'm CEO of Credit Suite. If we can help you along the way, you can feel free to give us a ring at 877-600-2487, or all of these options are going to be available at creditsuite.com/get funding. If you go to creditsuite.com/get funding and fill out like a handful or less of questions, then our finance team will go to work for you to help you get money right now, even including tapping into the $50 billion that was just put into SBA loans, which I'll be doing a special encore presentation later this week and giving you all the details on that. But let's talk about the obvious, right? The world has changed. Okay, business owners are more concerned right now in this moment than they ever are before, and many are unsure of what to do. So it's a time that a lot of people are wondering how to get capital to grow and really even how to survive. And if you're thinking about that, then you should be, because I can tell you that the number one thing you need to do right now is focus on getting money. This is going to be a long-term change that we're going through. Okay, this will impact us for at least the rest of 2020. So you need to load up on money now, because it becomes harder and harder and harder to access capital as more time will go by. Okay, so online lenders, a lot of things have changed in the last 10 years. When we had the last big economic shift in 2008, we really saw capital change from being the big banks, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, to start shifting into these alternative lenders that make it easier than ever to get capital. Okay, now these are great choices because they're easier to get money. It's faster to get money than ever before. And industries that are high risk or nonprofit or all these different scenarios that used to make it tough for you to get money, such as credit challenges, aren't as prevalent when you deal with these type of online lenders. Okay, and even if you have credit issues or any of these high risk scenarios, you're still able to come in and get money for your business, even if you haven't been in business 2 or 3 years like it's required for an SBA loan, or tax returns for years that you have, or all these other things that in the old day of lending in the early 2000s used to be the case. So if you're looking for one of the easiest and fastest way to get money, really a lot of these online lenders are the way to go. So let's talk about one of my favorites, which is Kabbage. So Kabbage makes it pretty easy to qualify within minutes for financing with them. You can get about $50,000 to $250,000. Now you can easily access cash as long as the credit line is open, as long as you have the credit line. So Kabbage will give you a credit line, and then you can tap in and write checks, etc., against that credit line they'll give you, as long as you have available money on that credit line. Okay, now they're going to want a year time in business and $50,000 annual revenue or more, and you can get to them at Kabbage.com. Now, let me tell you two things here that are very important. First of all, Kabbage, amongst every lender I'm going to show you today, and 990 more we have access to. Okay, at Credit Suite, we have access to over 1,000 different lenders like Kabbage. So if you're not sure of which program or lender to apply with, it's really simple. Give us a ring or just go to creditsuite.com/get funding. Our finance team will get on the phone and help you through this process. You also should keep in mind, we never charge you a dime to do that. Okay, our finance team will go to work. They'll find the best program. They'll find the best terms. They'll negotiate for you. They'll get you the money. And then in some cases, lenders like Kabbage give us a referral fee. That's how we get paid. So it won't cost you anything to have that level of help. Second important lesson I want to teach you. Everything I'm going to talk about today comes down to one of the 3 C's. If you want to get money to mitigate this crisis, you need to know that lenders are going to look at one of 3 things: cash flow, credit, or collateral. One of those 3 things. If you don't have good credit, don't have a good credit partner, don't have cash flow, don't have collateral, we're going to talk about options there as well today, like business credit that can still work for you. But all of these online lenders are looking at one of these 3 things. So in Kabbage's case, they're looking for cash flow. They're looking for revenue. And you'll commonly see that when you see lenders that want 1 year time in business and a certain amount of annual revenue. When you see a revenue and time in business requirement, you can almost bet that this lender is making their decision based on how you manage your cash flow. So that means in this case with Kabbage, that's looking at your cash flow, how you manage your bank account matters. Okay, not having non-sufficient funds, not having decreasing deposit amounts going in your account. Okay, making sure you have a positive ending bank balance at the end of the month. This is why it matters as this coronavirus is upon us and that we are moving into a recession. If you wait too long to get money and you start seeing a decline in sales, the money in your bank account starts being reduced month after month. This is exactly the scenario where lenders do not want to lend you money. So you need to take action preemptively and quickly before you start to see these drop-offs, because when you start to see drop-offs in revenue and things start to get tough, that's when it becomes significantly harder to get the money that you need. So let's jump on. So Kabbage, great option. Bluevine, one of my favorite lines of credit now comes from Bluevine. They offer invoice factoring line of credit. They also offer another kind of revenue lending, which I'll tell you about as well. They can process the loan in as little as 5 minutes, and that's because they use something called artificial intelligence lending. What artificial intelligence has done to lending is they're now going electronically into your bank account to see all of your deposits in your banking history. This is different than you having to supply 3 to 6 months worth of bank statements. So it's because you don't have to supply documentation and they electronically get it, it means your approval is really fast, and so is your funding. And let's be honest, a lot of us right now are needing this fast approval of money and fast access to it. So this artificial intelligence lending is very popular, especially as we get into a recession, because you need to access quickly, and you could do so. Okay, $5 million for invoice factoring, lines of credit, not available in all states, but in most states they are. And what they're looking for is 6 month time in business, 100,000 plus in annual revenue, 600 plus FICO score, or a much lower score if you're using invoice factoring. So Bluevine offers 2 kinds of financing. One is called invoice factoring, and this is how it works. If you have customers that pay you on terms, so customers that enroll with Credit Suite pay us over 7 months time, for example, that is called an account receivable. That money is owed to us. It's paid over 7 months worth of time. If you're the same way in your business, then what they will do is plug into your accounting software like QuickBooks. They'll look at your account receivables and lend you money strictly based on that. Personal credit's not really a big deal. Low 500 they can get you approved because it's how your customers pay their invoices to you that they're most concerned with. Again, another reason you need to act quickly, because if you have customers paying you money as this crisis looms, what happens is fewer of them will pay you money. It makes it harder to get that kind of financing. Second kind of financing they provide is a revenue-based cash flow credit line. So what they're looking for is they're looking into your bank account to see that you have consistent revenue coming in the bank account and that you manage that bank account responsibly. If you do that, then they will issue you a line of credit up to $150,000 based on revenue alone. So 2 ways to get money. One is based on revenue. One is based on what's called account receivables. Let's talk about best online lenders for low FICO scores. Credibly is a direct lender that specializes in unsecured business loans. Let me explain the terminology. A direct lender means they lend their own money. Yes, many lenders in this space are not lending all their money. What they're doing is really brokers, where they're brokering out and having other lenders give them the money. But they are a direct lender issuing their own money. The application process is done completely online, so it's very quick, about a day to get approved, and you can get funding to cover basic expenses, and you can get daily or weekly payments with them. You can get $5,000 to $250,000. They are oftentimes looking at your cash flow as well, so you're going to need to be producing some revenue to get approved. But again, they are more lenient when it comes to consumer credit, so they can help you in that case where you typically are not going to get help with other lenders. The requirements: 500 FICO score. There it is. Whenever we talk about a time and business requirement, 6 months, and we talk about average revenue, monthly or annual, you're dealing with a lender that deals with cash flow. They're looking for you to have about $10,000 a month in deposits, but here's what's different than the first one that we looked at. They will let you have money, unlike Kabbage, with only 6 months time in business. So lower time in business requirements and a very low FICO score, they will be able to approve you. Next one is OnDeck. You can again apply online. They are again based on cash flow financing. Okay, 5 to 500,000. So far, this is the highest approval amount we've seen, 500,000. OnDeck is the biggest lender in the cash flow financing space. They are publicly traded. This can be good for you. It can be bad for you. They are currently trying to get their bank charter. They're trying to become a bank, which means they have to be very conservative right now, the time that they're in. So some applicants will have very good success with OnDeck, but some won't have as good a success because they're being so conservative as they apply to get this bank charter. Here's the requirements: 600 plus FICO, 1 year time in business, 100,000 gross annual revenue a year, no serious credit issues within the last year to 2 years. As you can see, credit requirements are more stringent than the other sources that I've given you, but let me tell you why I love OnDeck. They do something no other cash flow lender has done to date. They will give you a loan, then they will give you a credit line right behind the loan. So if you have pretty good credit or pretty good financials like tax returns, not only will they give you a loan up to $500,000, but they will also give you a secondary credit line behind the loan as well, something I've never seen any other similar source do. Now, let's talk about the up to $500,000. Can't stand when people say that and don't explain how you get $500,000. So up to means that's how much money they will lend you if you are the best candidate. Now, how much these lenders lend is based on one thing primarily: your revenue. They will give you about 10 to 15% of your revenue advanced in a loan. So for example, if you have a revenue of, let's say, $200,000 a year, then 10% of that, it's about 20 grand. They'll usually do about 10 to 15%. So let's say $20,000 to $30,000 they'll actually lend you. So if you want to know how much one of these revenue cash flow based lenders will give you, you primarily have to look at about 10 to 15% of your annual revenue is what you'll actually be lent. So when I say up to $500,000, well, if you had $5 million worth of business a year, they would give you $500,000. But if you do $1 million worth of business a year, you're probably only going to be looking at 100 to 150 grand. I say only, but let's be honest, 100 to 150 grand can go a long way to carry you when things slow down and revenue isn't as much as it usually is. So OnDeck, great lender for that. Okay, let's talk about Lending Express. $5 to $500,000 loans available. Again, like OnDeck, the higher loan amounts if you do a higher dollar business. Range from 3 to 36 months. Let's talk about this. This is very important. Cash flow based lenders, and I've explained to you what that is, typically lend money up to about 36 months, about 3 years. Okay, so why you need to know that, and here's why this is very, very, very important. When it comes to getting money, loan term, how long the loan is the number one factor that will keep your payments low. The longer the term, the lower the payments. Way more important than interest. So what you're always looking for is lenders that will give you the longest term. So let me give you an example. $50 billion was just dumped into SBA loans to try to help us, you and I, entrepreneurs, get through this coronavirus crisis. Okay, if you get an SBA loan with a 30-year loan term, 30 years, and you borrowed $350,000, both of which you can do with SBA, at 3.75%, which is the going rate for this $50 billion that was dumped in for the coronavirus, you would be looking at a payment of about $1,600. But if you look at a loan term over 3 years, you could get $75,000 and have a payment that is 5 times that amount. You literally could have a $10,000 a month payment, okay, and that is only for $75,000 because your loan term is long. So what you and I are looking for is the longest loan terms that we can get. When we get longer loan terms, that means we keep payments low, which means we can get more money and keep our payments low, which means we can get a lot more money and still have payments that are affordable. So cash flow financing, great way to go, but you need to know this is fast, easy money, but you're also going to pay more for it than you would with a longer term loan like SBA. Easier to get, but also more expensive because your payment terms are shorter, over 36 months, okay? 3 months time in business, $10,000 a month in annual revenue. You notice that? Lending Express is one of the only sources I've seen in the cash flow financing space that will go as low as 3 months time in business. So if you're a newer business, that's what you really want to pay attention to here, is they will still help you even if you are newer in business, when a lot of similar of these lenders won't do so. Let's talk about StreetShares. StreetShares is a lender offering term loans, lines of credit, specialized veteran business bonds, and small business loans and investing options. Look, here's what you need to know about StreetShares. If you're a veteran like I am, StreetShares is fantastic for you. StreetShares caters to veterans. That's what StreetShares does. Okay, so that being said, StreetShares is a great way to go if you are active or you are retired or you are any type of military veteran. StreetShares is a great way to go. They cater to people like us that are veterans. Most recently, they offer contract financing, a non-loan service similar to invoice factoring. We talked about that earlier. I told you exactly what account receivable financing is. Factoring. It's looking at how your customers pay you, account receivables from your customers, okay, and then it's using those receivables as collateral to get financing. What you should like about this is they don't care about personal credit and they don't care about revenue. If your customers are paying you in invoices, you can use those invoices to hedge against to get money. That's what invoice factoring is. Okay, it only takes a few minutes. Soft credit pull, like many of them, not going to hurt your personal credit. They'll give you loans up to $100,000, and here's the requirements. A year time in business, 25,000 plus annual revenue, the lowest we've seen so far. So they will help you even if your revenue isn't $50,000, $100,000 like many other sources. And sometimes StreetShares will make exceptions for hiring businesses that are lower time in business, 6 months. Good point here. That is called a compensating factor. Very important for you to know, especially with the coronavirus upon us. Compensating factors mean maybe you don't have 1 year time in business, but maybe you have another factor that's really strong that compensates for that. So let me give you an example. Let's say I go to apply for StreetShares and my credit score is 720, but I only have 9 months time in business. They're probably going to make an exception because I haven't been in business that long, okay? But because they are willing to lend money based on my compensating factor, which is good personal credit. Okay, so that is an example of what compensating factors are. 620 credit score to get approved with them. Either be or have a guarantor with reasonable credit, which means you can use somebody else's credit to qualify if you don't have the credit score to qualify. Not a lot of lenders will do that. StreetShares will let you do that. A LoanBuilder, PayPal service. PayPal bought LoanBuilder back in 2017. Okay, and in doing so, they are crushing it when it comes to short-term lending to mid-sized businesses and term loans. Okay, you may even be able to get the money as soon as next day with them, and they'll lend you up to $500,000 if you have even average credit, 550 plus credit score, 52,000 plus annual revenue, very low annual revenue, 9 months time in business, very low time in business. But here's the kicker with them. They're typically going to really look at what you're funneling through your PayPal account. So if you look at LoanBuilder is a great way to get money, especially if you're running a good amount of money through your PayPal account. Okay, Square has similar financing. So this is why I've always told you, you need to be funneling part of your money through PayPal and Square. Have your customers pay through PayPal and or Square, because as I've always said, they offer some of the easiest financing you can ever get. And right now, with this kind of economic condition, you need easy financing. So if you're running money through PayPal and or Square, those are great options. And if it is PayPal you're running money through, then LoanBuilder could be something that could really benefit you. Lendio's loan connection service basically taps into a network of lenders. They have about 70 lenders, about 75 now, that they work with, loans up to $500,000. Okay, you've got to have a U.S. business. You have to have a 560 plus FICO score. You have to have a bank account. Look, Lendio's main product is cash flow financing. We used to send them a bunch of business. We weren't the biggest fan of the customer service we got at Lendio, so we don't send them a lot of business now. But they do a lot of the revenue lending loans, the cash flow financing loans. Okay, so if you want to go to them to get cash flow financing, they'll offer that. They do have some term loan options for you as well. Okay, and you got to be 18 or older as you do with any of this kind of financing. But again, creditsuite.com/get funding. All these funding products you're looking at, all these these lenders and about 990 more lenders than I have time to go over with you today, we have access to and will help you through this process to get money without charging you. So if you just want to know of these lenders and everybody else you can get money with, then feel free to go to creditsuite.com/getfunding and we'll figure that out with you. SmartBiz. Smart Business Small Business Loans, or SBA loans, are government-backed business term loans. These are for business owners who've had difficulty qualifying for other kind of financing. SBA loans usually take a lot of time, but they make it a little bit of a faster process with SmartBiz, and you can get loans from $30,000 to $5 million. Here's the requirement: 650 plus FICO, U.S. citizen, 2 years time in business, 50,000 plus in annual revenue, no outstanding tax liens, bankruptcies, foreclosures in the last 3 years. So here's what you need to know about SmartBiz and all SBA loans. I told you in the beginning that to get money, you need to focus on one of 3 C's: cash flow, credit, and or collateral. And I told you by the end of this, I'm going to give you options if you have none of those. Okay, when it comes to SBA loans, they need you to be good in all 3 areas. They need your cash flow to be good and verifiable per tax returns. They need you to have good personal credit with very few, if any, blemishes on it whatsoever. And they need to make sure you have collateral to offset the debt. It could be account receivables, which we talked about. It could be the equity in your home. But those are the 3 things. You have to have all 3 of those to get approved with SmartBiz or any other kind of SBA loan. So if you want to tap into that $50 billion the government just dumped into SBA, then you need to have good credit, cash flow, and collateral, or you're just not going to get that kind of SBA loan. And I'll talk later about that later this week. I'm going to do an entire training just on the $50 billion that got dumped into SBA. If you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, subscribe, and you'll probably get notified when we go live on that. I think it is going to be 11 o'clock tomorrow, Wednesday. So tomorrow at 11 o'clock, I'm going to go live and talk about SBA. If you want to know sooner, then tune in at 2 o'clock on Facebook. If you go to facebook.com/Credit Suite, I'm going live on Facebook at 2 o'clock, and I'm going to be speaking right to the camera, answering questions in real time, and talking exactly about this $50 billion that just got dumped into SBA. But that gives you some background with SmartBiz and SBA loans as well. Fora Financial, early repayment discounts for qualifying borrowers. If you pay it off early, you can get approved for up to $500,000, 6 months time in business, 12,000 plus in monthly revenue, no open bankruptcies. You could see that there's a time and business requirement. You could see there's a revenue requirement. So we know they are big on cash flow financing, looking at how you manage your cash flow. Lending Tree connects with many different kind of lenders. They offer multiple different kinds of business financing in one place: small business loans, lines of credit, SBA loans, equipment financing, and more. The amount varies based on risk, and again, they're pretty loose on the requirements because they work with many different kinds of financing. So there's a handful of us out there that do. Lending Tree, Lendio, Credit Suite. There's a few more of us that work with many different lending options at once. Most, like Lendio or Lending Tree, are working with about 50 to 100 different lending sources. To give you an idea, Credit Suite works with 1,000. Lending Tree is one of them, and so is Lendio. So these other places that work with multiple funding products, they are in our arsenal as well. That way, we believe this gives you the best ability to getting the most amount of money in for your business. And Seth says 2 p.m. what time zone? That is Eastern time. So I will be going live on Facebook at 2 p.m. Eastern time, which is in 37 minutes. And I will just be talking about the $50 billion into SBA, answering questions about it, talking about rates, qualification, and all of that. That's 2 p.m. Eastern time. If you don't know how to get there, go to facebook.com/Credit Suite. And if you're on that page, you will see when we go live. If you like the page, you might get notified when we go live, but that's where we'll be going live, is right there on our Facebook page. Fundbox. I love Fundbox. You're going to love them too. Okay, fast automated approvals, weekly automated payments, $100,000 credit line available from 10 to 100 grand. Okay, what they are primarily looking for, they don't have any specific revenue or time in business requirements, but I found that about 3 months in business, they'll start to consider you for financing. They are what I've already described to be an account or to be a artificial intelligence lender. The difference is they sometimes will approve you with no credit check. I talked about Bluevine earlier. Bluevine will go up to 150 grand. Fundbox will go up to 100 grand. The difference is Bluevine has very strict credit requirements and Fundbox doesn't. If you manage your bank account responsibly, there's a very good chance that you can get approved with Fundbox, okay, even if you've been in business only a few months. creditsuite.com/fundbox. If you look at the bottom here, creditsuite.com/fundbox instead of Get Funding is a special link you can get approved with them. I recommend everybody get a Fundbox credit line, but don't apply just yet. There's some other financing that you want to save your inquiries. I'm going to help you get the most amount of funding by saving your inquiries. If you go and start with Fundbox, you'll put an inquiry on there, which will cost you other funding. We always end with Fundbox, meaning every time we get a client money, we always end by then circling back in the end and getting them a Fundbox credit line on top of the money they already got. We always end with Fundbox. We never start with Fundbox because Fundbox will put an inquiry on your credit, which hurts your ability to get other kind of money. Okay, and I'm going to teach you how to get that other kind of money in a minute. So Fundbox, we always end with. They're the ones you go to when everything's done. Here's how it'll work. We got approved for $6,000 line of credit. We showed them tax returns. They gave us a $30,000 line of credit. We proved ourselves. We paid the bill month after month. Then we went and applied again, and they gave us a $100,000 line of credit. We have a $100,000 line of credit with Fundbox we use all the time. It helps us take advantage of all kinds of opportunities. I think everybody should have a Fundbox credit line. We are the #1 affiliate with Fundbox because we send so many people over and get approval because they approve so many different people that other lenders just won't approve. So if you're not succeeding with getting approved, try Fundbox. Try them after you get funding as well. They are a great option to get more money. creditsuite.com/Fundbox will get you approved. Lending Club. Okay, Lending Club offers small fixed term small business loans, $5,000 to $500,000, 12-month time in business, $5,000 in annual sales. Okay, no bankruptcies or tax liens, fair personal credit. Here's what you need to know about Lending Club. Lending Club is what we call a peer-to-peer lender. They are not like anyone that we've talked about so far. Everybody we've talked about so far is either lending their own money or they're brokers going to other people that lend money and getting you their money. With Lending Club, they are one of what's called a peer-to-peer lender. So they are taking private individuals that actually have money to lend to small businesses. They are pooling them together. And when you go to get money, they take money from many of these individual investors, pull it together, and give you a loan. So let me give you an example. If you get $50,000 in money from Lending Club, they might have got that from 5 individual investors, people just like you and I. People that want to get a return on our money, and we give Lending Club the money to invest into other businesses like ourselves, to lend money to other entrepreneurs, and then we get a rate of return on that money. That's how peer-to-peer lending works. It's private investment money without needing venture capital, without needing angel investing. Now, if you go to youtube.com/Credit Suite, I've got training just on peer-to-peer lending, Lending Club, StreetShares. There's many other of these type of peer-to-peer lenders that are out there. And in that one presentation, I go through many of the types that you need to know, who's best for what kind of funding. And again, if you don't want to figure all that out, just go to creditsuite.com/Get Funding, and then we will talk to you and put you with the best peer-to-peer lender if peer-to-peer lending is what works best for you. But that's what Lending Club is. Why you need to know this. It's easier to get than most of this other money we've talked about. Most of these other online lenders we've talked about are a little bit more stringent because it's lenders lending you money. We found that peer-to-peer lending platforms like Lending Club, remember they're a platform. All they do is pool together the money from these individual investors and give you a platform to connect you with the investors to get it. That's what they are doing. So a peer-to-peer lender is a little bit easier to get the money from because they're private individuals instead of you actually having to qualify with lenders. So I like peer-to-peer lending. Lending Club is one of the biggest in that space to possibly consider. Fundation. Okay, they provide term loans and lines of credit up to $500,000 if you've been in business 12 months, $100,000 plus in revenue, and you've got to have 3 full-time employees and a 600 FICO score. Okay, you can't be in North Dakota, South Dakota, or Nevada. No clue why, but they are good with the other states, just not those 3 states. Fundation is another source who actually has multiple different sources they work with and that they can actually connect you with to get revenue lending, term loans, etc. So they're really good with all of that as well. Now, before I do a recap, and I will do a recap here, but I want to talk about some other things. I promised you that even if you don't have cash flow credit and collateral, I would give you some alternative options, and here they are. Remember, Lenders are looking for cash flow, credit, or collateral to get you money. You need one of those, good personal credit or collateral. Collateral could be 401k stocks, IRAs, could be account receivables, purchase orders, inventory, equipment, commercial real estate, vehicles, any of that kind of thing, an asset that's worth money. Or the third type is cash flow financing. We talked about a lot of those as well. But let's say you don't have good credit or cash flow or collateral. Well, then you want to consider using a guarantor. If you want to use good credit only or a guarantor that has good credit, you can get $150,000 in credit lines, even in a high-risk industry and even as a startup, if you have 650 plus FICO scores. So even if you don't have a 650 plus FICO score, you can still get up to $150,000 in credit lines using a family member, a friend, etc. as a guarantor. That's a good option. If you have a unique product or service, use crowdfunding. I've got tons of training on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/credit suite, that will help you get crowdfunding as well. I've also got training on our YouTube channel for how to get grants. Grants are free money, and you need to be looking into grants right now, okay? I'm going to give you an example of something I just actually received today so you can actually get an idea of what I'm talking about here. So grants are another great free way to get money. And this really matters, especially right now, because there's a lot of people that are lending money. For example, a lot of states are actually making an impact right now doing this kind of money. So let me kind of zoom in here and I'll give you an idea. So this is something a buddy of mine actually sent today, and this talks about getting money in the state of Florida. So there's a $50,000 interest-free loan. This is not a grant, but that the state of Florida is giving to small business owners right now to help with coronavirus. Okay, so I'm only showing you that because, again, I get these kind of things all the time. Grants, free money in your county, in your city, in your state that can work for you. You also need to be searching online, coronavirus and your state, business funding, because just like I showed you, there's a $50,000 interest-free loan that just hit in Florida that works if you own a business in Florida. Many of these states will be rolling out that kind of relief. And never forget about business credit. The reality is, if you would have already built your business credit by now, you'd have no problem getting the capital when you need it the most. If you haven't, it's not too late. You can get high limit revolving credit cards, Visa, MasterCard, almost every major retailer, including Amazon and Walmart, without a personal guarantee and without a personal credit check, letting your business fund itself. Okay, and that's the beauty of business credit, and it works regardless of cash flow, regardless of credit, and regardless of collateral. So those are some of many other ways that you can get money as well. And of course, in a recap of this, it really comes down to how fast you want the money. Do you need a lender that will lend you more money or lend you based on a lower FICO score? There's a difference between crowdfunding and peer-to-peer lending, etc. And that is exactly why we are actually here to help you. Remember, with Credit Suite, we give you access to every legitimate funding option in one place, so you don't have to know the difference between all these. We never charge you fees on funding, period. We don't charge you an application fee. We don't charge you a fee when the deal funds. We sometimes get referral fees from the lenders. That's how we get paid. We do so much loan volume. We do millions and millions and millions of business funding in a month. So these banks, every one I showed you, is going to give me better pricing than they give you because we do loan volume and we pass that directly on to you. And we help you get a blueprint to SBA. Even if you can't get an SBA loan right now, we work with you and show you and develop a plan individually for you to be able to get SBA loans. The bottom line is, our whole goal is that you never need to look for money again. You can have one place you go to and have access to all capital in that one source. So we've talked about a lot of ways that you can get recession-proof funding, okay, from online lenders based on your cash flow, based on your credit, based on your collateral. If you have questions, if you want to know what you can get approved for now, if you want to get business credit, okay, give us a ring, 877-600-2487. 877-600-2487. Go directly to get approved at creditsuite.com/get funding. If you want to access all of our other training, go to creditsuite.com, the top right of our page. You'll see we go live on YouTube weekly. We go live on Facebook weekly. Okay, on top of that, we have daily tips on Twitter, daily tips on Instagram. We're going to go live for the first time this week on Instagram as well. We will give you the information you need in real time to tell you the funding that's available right now to help you navigate through this crisis, which will continue for many months to come. So if we can help you get money, give us a ring. Send us an email, visit us online, but I will tell you, I will beg you to do one thing and one thing only. I'm going to say that F word, the nice F word, freaking action right now. Okay, I lost everything in the recession of 2008 because I was a mortgage broker at the time, and I built Credit Suite to help make sure that everybody can mitigate this this is it. I have literally waited the last 12 years creating and researching and building an arsenal of lenders to help entrepreneurs never have the same fate that I experienced in 2008. So if you want money, if we can help you, let us help. Give us a ring, send us an email, visit us online, 877-600-2487, info@creditsuite.com, creditsuite.com. We have extra team members. We have made extra hours. We've made all kinds of adjustments right now to make sure that we can help as many entrepreneurs get money as possible. But I cannot tell you enough that I've been through this before. Markets will tighten up. You have a limited window to get in and get the money while you can before that $50 billion in SBA funds is claimed, before underwriting times become months instead of weeks, before your sales start declining and it becomes too late to get money because they don't want to lend money when sales are declining. You have a limited window. I've lived through this in the past. I didn't take advantage of the window when I had it, and I wasn't able to get the money when I needed it, and I couldn't keep the business afloat. So now I'm here to help you avoid that same fate. If we can help you along the way, let us know. 877-600-2487, info@creditsuite.com. I will be live at 2 o'clock Eastern on Facebook to dive into SBA. I will be back on YouTube Wednesday, tomorrow at 11 o'clock Eastern to talk more about SBA as well and other options to help you mitigate. We will be releasing content twice a week on all of our channels to make sure that you are kept up to speed with what's going on. And if we can help you along the way, just reach out to us and let us help you get the capital you need to be able to thrive in this, not just survive. Thanks, everybody. I will be back here Wednesday at 11 o'clock Eastern to dive more into SBA funding. And if we can help you in the interim, visit us online at creditsuite.com or give us a ring at 877-600-2487. Thanks, everybody.